Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your late November reading. We're going to be pulling some cards and we're going to get an idea of what it is that you can expect for the latter part of November. Following is going to be for Sagittarians, where your placements are in your sun, moon, rising, and or Venus. What do we have right here? Air. Oh, I feel like Sagittarians, you're going to be dealing with a lot of airy thought energy, and maybe even having to deal with an air sign. I feel like your intuition this month is going to be really called into question. Not to say that maybe your intuition is wrong. It's actually more so to confirm that your intuition is way more spot on. After I go to cut, got the card of release. When I was tuning in, trying to figure out what Sagittarians need to know, some of the intuitive hits I was getting were information, messages, letters, notes from people that we would consider to be soulmates. I really feel as though people's true colors are going to begin to shine over the next couple of weeks. And as I was trying to prepare for this reading, like I have been dealing with this massive headache, and it's sort of like this information overload. What do we got going on here? Got the card of fire. This feels like hot-tempered, intense, opinionated conversation at home. A lot of my following right now is mostly United States based, but at the end of the month, we do have Thanksgiving coming up. And then overall, even globally, we do have the Christmas and year-end holidays coming up as well. Affluence. Sagittarians are in for a bit of a head buddy season, it feels like, because I get the sense already that this could actually get very competitive if you aren't being mindful about who it is you're talking to, why it is you're talking to, and if anything, just making sure that you're not entertaining the wrong energy. Karmic path. Yeah, this is gonna be a very, I'm hearing an unwelcomed month, but I really get the sense that this is supposed to be very, very transformative, but a few of you Sagittarians may feel as though the bad things are happening all over again. You might not necessarily be wrong about that. You're just being put into a situation so that you can see people for who they are and know that again, that whether if you have already released these people from your life and they're coming back around for another round, or if you've been sort of on the fence about removing somebody from your life, I feel like you're going to get just the clarity on what it is that you need to do. We got a page of cups, and this is difficult. I feel like whoever this person is, you do care about them, but I feel this maturity gap. Ace of Cups just wanted to like fly out past my heart. Like I feel like you are actually very talented. However, this person, regardless of whatever the nature of your relationship is, this could be like a sibling, this could be a friend, a family member. It could even be someone you've known from childhood. I get this feeling though that someone's been playing you up like a card trick, like a party trick. You may have gotten the impression that they were very impressed with your gifts and very impressed with the way that either the way you talk, the way you perceive things about reality. I'm sorry, but it feels like this person, or these, I feel it as a person, it could be a group of people, they never really took your gifts that seriously. And this doesn't have to be a spiritual gift. This could be maybe a career that you have been shifting into. This could be a passion project, something that you have been personally fired up about. This person, whoa, okay, I just got a angel ping there. Let's keep going. High priestess. You have been following your intuition, and you've probably been very forthright about how you're excited about a new chapter within your life. Four of coins. Um, and in some ways, I think you've been sharing with this person quite a bit because you're really hoping that they will get on board, that they're going to be excited for your next chapter. But this person's very withholding. Like they're very intense personality. It is definitely that sort of you guys get riled up in each other's energy, and sometimes that can be a little bit fun. But there's something about you're trying to talk about the things that you love, you're talking about the changes, and you're actually going more about your day-to-day life, thinking about what you want. And this person, it's like they're holding back more and more. And in some ways, there's some passion within this dynamic that seems to be dying out, it's being quenched. Uh, Tell me about the card of home. Like, I keep having that song, "I'll Be Home for Christmas," and I don't know, I think I've just become bitter personally over the past decade. I live in an area where I don't have real family. At most my family get-togethers mostly end up being over video. So there's something about the idea of home is a little bit skewed for Sagittarians, whether this is going home and visiting family. Do you really want to go home and visit family? Or what does the concept of home mean to you? We got the card of the devil, and I'm hearing going back and doing traditions just because that's what you do. There's something within the way that you relate to your friends and your family. Where is it that it's a habit versus it's something that you're longing to do, but it's also coming back uh into connection with people just for the sake of the argument, just for the sake of one-upmanship, just for the sake of stirring up passion. What do you got right here? Temperance. This is that quenched energy I was mentioning a little bit earlier. We got that two of wands, especially if you're feeling a little duplicitous or being accused of being duplicitous. Two of coins. Um, I feel like a lot of you guys over the next few weeks are going to feel very torn apart, and this feels very inward. Like you want to, like one half of you would like to continue, like, hey, I know this person, like we've known each other our entire lives. Like I have no reason to not have them a part of my reality. But another half of you is just so exhausted and entangled with this habit, like, while it's easier thinking to stick with this person, it's safer, it's convenient, it's normal to you, but it hasn't really contributed to your balance or your growth. And in many ways, this person has been holding you back and keeping you on their level. You don't exactly have a lot of support being, what's the word? You're just not being supported very well by this individual. And yet you still wanna keep coming back to them. I feel like there's some loyalties that, are a little bit overdue, and given that I do have the card of release, and I will notice underneath there, we do have the card of, jealousy, kinda popping through. Like, you are very, very divinely protected, but there's an ask within here. Why do you feel obligated to allow jealous, petty energies to be in your life? Just because they're related to you, just because they were there for you 20 years ago, there's this sort of lifeblood, like brotherlyhood, obligated loyalty. I just keep coming across that word. It's like, well, why not? But it's not great. And you're looking to change. This person's not looking to change. And it's one of those the lower common denominator will win. And the lowest common denominator is doing nothing, apathy, sticking to what's familiar. But when you grow, you go into something that is very unfamiliar. Let's have a look at this affluence. I was picking up a lot of competitiveness. The way you probably interact with this person is you talk about what's going on during your day. Then they talk about what's going on their day. Well, then you kind of went up on top of that. And then it turns into, on a nice day, it's like a cake with multiple layers and you just keep stacking on top. But on a bad day, where say you just need to share something awful that happened at work, but the other person, they don't wanna hear it, and then they talk about how their day was worse, and then you talk about, "No, my day was worse because of this. No, my life was worse because of this. Well, my life is worse because of this." You notice how it's the same energy, but it's starting to spin out in different directions. This is somebody who they haven't done any of the inward work to deal with their trauma, and people who are stuck in trauma loops, they always try to one up because subconsciously, benevolently, they're afraid of being missed. They're afraid that someone will not notice that they are hurting, but it's the lie that I need to keep hurting in order to be seen. There's something in there that you're learning to break free from. It's going to be important that you really take severe governship of your own emotions, even if you wish to desire to interact with this person, or maybe you don't really have much of a choice to interact with them. Like mom and dad invite all the kids over and all the family members over. Of course, that person's going to show up. It's not as though you were the host of the party. It still requires you to kinda sit back and just observe what's going on. Because this feels like a repeating pattern, you are entering into this timeline as a different person with different perceptions, and in many ways to show you the contrast of who it is that you are becoming versus the type of life that you're ready to leave behind. What do we got up here? Nine of coins. Like this is the card of independence. And I think a few of you Sagittarians are actually walking into this abundant timeline where if you feel comfortable calling the shots for yourself, you're going to find wealth. You will find that sense of independence. However, as long as you continue to entertain this person or try to get their blessing or you try to get them on board with you, it's sort of like, hey, I'm going to be independent. Maybe you should come along with me and be independent too, which is ironically a codependent mentality. There's our knight of coins. There is this a shift that will be happening within your routine, especially if, if you are this this farmer, riding on this cow. Both of you have a really great dynamic, but I feel like this cow, you can't see it because like, the high priestess is sort of talking about it, but you can't really see it. There's like it's like an elephant is being dragged behind this poor calf. There's an elephant in the room that hasn't been addressed. And as you're learning to address it over the last part of November or even into the beginning part of December, the weight off of your life is going to be released. And in some ways, you may feel a little bit, ooh, there is a warning within here. You may feel like you did something wrong or you did something bad, but actually, you've actually cut a lot of weight out of your life and you just need to acclimate. That's why this is a very slow and diligent and thoughtful night. Learning how to be loyal to yourself, knowing that even if things seem a little bit grim and barren in the immediate term, you now know how farming works because I do have like a full field of watermelons. This is just the knight already completing his work after a harvest cycle. And you can't see this. In some ways, I feel for some of you, this may feel a little bit backwards with the way that you're going to be asked to look at this situation. Again, this could be a person or this could be just a type of relationship habit that you're accustomed to. And I'm not even getting romantic vibes for most of you. This feels very much like family. And who do you run to when times are tough, when or who runs to you when they're struggling? There's an ask within here to not be super duper available to karmic people because you are trying to get off of this cycle. You're trying to get off of the ride. Tell me more about this karmic path. I feel like this is the epiphany. In many ways, I'm looking at these cards as a sequence of very strange events. Some of them might feel somewhat unfortunate. I would rather think that this reading is supposed to be cathartic and give Sagittarians a chance to really see a person for who it is that they actually are. And there's a lot of acceptance, but there's a lot of clarity. In some ways, a few of you will begin to realize how you were really spared a huge headache, um, and how not entertaining this person, there's no guilt here. There's just freedom. What do we have here? Page of Swords. Like, there's a version of you that may feel like you're being a wee bit of a tattletale. That's very unusual that I would pick that up in this context. I think this is some past life stuff that is just trying to be resolved so that you stop reacting and hyper reacting like a page. These people, even if they're much older than you, there's nothing more upsetting when you're a younger person and you come across someone who's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years older than you, and it's shocking because there's a version of you that might go, "How is this person older than me, but less mature?" And there could be some guilt associated with that when you start to realize how age and wisdom don't always correspond, and you might feel guilty about it, especially if you were trying to honor the elders, if you will, honor the ancestors. But a lot of people in the world, they don't grow up past pages. Many of them don't grow up past the age of 5 or 6, 12 or 13, and they get stuck in that mentality, mostly because that's as far as their parents could ever figure it out. You're growing up, like, you're getting to this, like, college level mentality where you can start exploring the world with openness, thoughtfulness, having a healthy different opinion with other people. This is sort of like no longer being agreeable for the sake of not getting in trouble, and not being so divisive that it causes trouble. There's a lot of sort of medium out in this paradigm for Sagittarians. What do we got here? More page energy. We got the page of coins. Like, you can't see it, with this affluence card. And mostly it's because you have been in an echo chamber and you've been talking to the wrong people. Like I was saying earlier, you are a very gifted person. There's something that you more than likely have been working on, a passion project, changing up your career, having to take a completely different approach to the way that you go about life. You're excited. And there is new opportunity for you. The Page of Coins is the student of the streets, while the Page of Swords is a student of the books. This is theory and this is practicality. And you do need both in order to find a semblance of balance when you go about your next steps. You're entering into an unknown path, and that could scare you. But there's an ask within here. Are like, why are you scared about the new path? Is it really your own fear? If it is, if it's a healthy sense of fear, that's normal. You're supposed to feel a little bit of fear when you go into something. Fear is actually healthy. Like, there's some healing within that root chakra. But there's also recognizing you may be feedbacking off of somebody's immature emotions. They are too afraid to ask for better in their life. And when other people get better, they leave them. Like, this person's constantly stuck being traumatized, and they may even themselves be a healer, but they're the wounded warrior, it feels like, where they'd rather just be miserable and angry. And there is something that they can do to help people, but they've actually withdrawn their gifts because if they're not willing to heal themselves, it means that they magnetize people who are also broken. And as a result, they withhold their gifts because healed people leave them. Now, there's some abandonment wounding, whether that applies to you, to this person. Sometimes the answer is yes. Oh, yeah. Knight of Swords, subconsciously looking out from underneath there. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna you've been kind of accustomed to just sharing everything, and this sucks because this might be your bestie from childhood that you shared everything with, and having to take on a new dynamic, like, there's feelings in here. Oh, there's our feelings. We got the lovers. You're actually being guided on a path where you're gonna be meeting new people, but, your past version of yourself, the past timeline would see this lover as a beast, but you, with your sense of love and compassion and independence, are able to see this beast for, who they are, and in many ways no longer being so dependent on egoic ideas as to what it means to have a soulmate, to be aligned with certain types of people. Like, this person's all about labels, and maybe for a while you were too, but the labels were just way too confining, and you weren't finding people who would be willing to support you on the next path, on the next step, support you with your healing, and support you on your path of growth. And we also have the card of death with change. Like, there's a lot of mystery for Sagittarians, like, mysteries abound. Like, in many ways, you're just being asked to lean into the unknown because whatever is familiar right now, it is a little bit over the top. It is very meddlesome, and it really doesn't have your best interests at heart. The familiar is the enemy in context to this energy. So, being able to heed the warning signs are going to be very critical. If it feels like, "Oh, man, this feels way too familiar. Am I repeating a timeline?" Okay, I recognize that. And being able to finally walk into the unknown, that's where your light actually will begin to shine. You're being encouraged during this time to start seeing the version of you where you might have been accused of being a show off, a tattletale, someone who tried to do the right thing and no one rewarded you for it. That's shifting. Continue to embrace whatever it is that you have been learning, wherever it is you desire to grow. Your sense of family needs to shift, and the people that you associate, it's either they will elevate with you or they will fall away. I feel as though inwardly you've already made the decision, and all you need is the encouragement to go forward and shine your light and be who it is that you actually are. I'm just saying. Woo! Well, Sagittarius, whoever you guys are, damn, I sincerely hope that this helped. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you like my style, please make sure to like the video on the way out. And if you're kind of curious about the next message, I highly recommend that you subscribe. And until I see you at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries. Bye.